All right, guys, now for the question of the day. Chain or not to chain? I reached out to Andersen myself, and this is the email that back that I replied. All right, guys, in a previous video, we had just put this MoRide rubber pin box on our fifth wheel RV, and I told you I had the perfect combo 1-2 punch to go with it, and we got it now. We're gonna put it on, so stick around, check it out. All right, so what do we have here today? We have the Andersen Ultimate Fifth Wheel Connection Generation 3. This is not 1, it's not 2, this is Generation 3. We're gonna go over why I decided to pick this one. We're gonna show you what's going on with my other one and why I chose this one over that one. The first thing that really kind of surprises you is when you get it is, what were you just saying?
I said, this thing is really, really light. I mean, it weighs nothing. You can tell it's aluminum. We haven't gotten out of the box yet. But this whole hitch is lighter than 2 of my receiver hitches for my truck.
Yeah, the first thing he said was like, I almost couldn't believe there was a hitch in here because of how light it was. Let's get it open and take a look at what we need to get to install this. We got it out of the box, and this is what we have here. This is the Generation 3 Ultimate Fifth Wheel Connection. It's very similar to the second generation in the fact that it's aluminum, it's very lightweight, and it has the same style connection as the Gen 2, where you have a ball on here and this attaches to your kingpin, and then the ball goes under the kingpin. And we show you all those details too. And I've seen a lot of people messing this up, but this is what attaches this to your gooseneck ball. And this is what it does is you have a gooseneck ball and this slides up inside here, and then this slides over top of it, and then you put the pin in and it locks it in the ball in place. And then you'll tighten down this and it'll cinch it up and pull it up and tighten this down to your bed. And that's what it's for. And this is one of the big updates from the Generation 2 is see, it's a circle in there. The other one was just square, and I believe you use 2 pins down there and it kind of snugs it up, but you only need 1 pin, and because it's round, you're going to get less movement and jiggling and stuff. But another thing too is you'll see that this is much closer together than the Gen 2, and the Generation 2 was only rated for, I think, about 20,000 pounds. I forget how much tongue weight it's rated for, but this one I believe is rated for 4,500 pounds of tongue weight. 4,500 pounds of tongue weight, which is, or more than half of what we need. We only have maybe 2,300 pounds of tongue weight. It's also rated for 24,000 pounds. And the Gen 2 was rated for 20,000 pounds. So 24,000 pounds, that's almost, our trailer's a little over, it's between 12 and 13,000 pounds. So that's almost half of what this thing is rated for. So I'm not worried one bit about this thing failing on us or having any problems. And especially if I'm going to give up my sturdy BXR 2100 is actually rated less than this one is. And that was 100% steel. And I'm going to explain to you why I kind of gave up on that one, but even though it is a solid hitch, but there's reasons for that. But we'll get this installed and we'll go over why I had to give that one up. All right, so what we're going to do, we'll take this pin out here because we'll reinstall that when we get in the truck. But we're going to slide this in over here. Yep, and just punch that right up against there, and then just thread that in. And it's funny, like, all right, I gotta point this out because I've seen people, they try to put that piece on the gooseneck ball first and then slide this whole thing over top of it and then try to weasel that nut on. The instructions does not say to do it that way. I've seen actually 2 videos where people try to do it that way. Don't do it that way. Put it on here first, like the instructions say, then put it on the gooseneck ball. You can see right under there, slides right over that gooseneck ball. Then we just take that pin that we had and it just goes right back underneath there, and it locks the ball onto that little slider. So I give Gary a round of applause for helping me out because I'm still recovering from my total knee replacement, and just some things I cannot do. Definitely cannot do that right now. It's going to be a little while. So, but what we're going to do is, it's just got 3 bolts on here. This one just snugs it down to the truck, and then you got 2 more bolts on this side. They're all 15/16 socket, and they're all 60 foot-pounds of torque. So we're just going to take the weaker impact and just snug them up to make it go faster. Go ahead and hit it. So that's good. And then you just want to make sure that it's lined up going straight forward, and you can just kind of use the lines in your bed to make a good judgment if it's lined up. And then you got these other 2 on the front. I'm just going to snug those down. As soon as it starts hitting, then just stop. There you go. And then we're just going to switch it over to the torque wrench, and we're going to set it for 60 foot-pounds and just pop those 3. And that's one thing I really like about this one over my BXR is you have to use like half a dozen different sockets to put that thing together. This basically requires 1 socket and 1 Allen wrench. And we're just going to crank it till we get that click. You only take a couple turns. It's that easy, guys. And there's also a little set screw right here, and we could not find a torque specification for that, so we're just snugging it down, and that's going to help the ball from jiggling. All right, guys, so this is an important measurement you're going to need. Is we got to measure from the ball to our tailgate. So, and this is, and we'll explain what you're going to need this for in just a second, but we got 42 inches there. So we'll take that measurement and head over there and see what we get. Here's something else I didn't account for too when I was ordering things, is we have this kingpin stabilizer right here because we have a washer dryer combo up in here, and when that thing's on spin cycle, it'll shake this thing up, and this does a really good job of settling it out. But of course this goes to a kingpin, and we're swapping it out to where the bowl hooks on there, so the kingpin's not going to be anymore. So we're probably going to have to order a different one. They do make these to actually have for a gooseneck, and we're probably just going to get one for a gooseneck, and it should do the same job, but we'll probably have to buy that. If I find one, I'll leave it linked down in the description here below. But you definitely do need some kind of stabilization if you have a washer dryer. You don't need it, but it makes life a lot more comfortable. But we're going to leave this here for now, and we're going to take a measurement from here to here and make sure the bed's going to clear. So, and that'll determine whether we tap it on this way or spin it around and do it the other way. But in order for the bed to clear, we need 42 inches, which would put it right there. So this will clear inside the bed. So we're gonna leave it facing this direction. And then we're just gonna tap it up and we'll slide those bolts in. With this new MORryde pen box, is it's got a coating on it. So the coating makes it a little thicker, so this isn't going on easy. So we're having to like tap it on with the metal part. You don't want to hit the plastic because this will just break. Keep going with this.
Keep going, huh?
Yep, and I'll just, every time you get up that way, I'll smack it up this way. It's going on pretty easy. I'm gonna put these bolts in, one going this direction and then one going this direction. If you see, there's like a little bit of a gap right here because it looks like there's a little bit of a bow. They give you this little metal piece right here that slides up in here that takes up some of that slack. So we'll probably have to put that up there because it definitely looks like there's a little bit of a gap. So we'll slit that there and then we'll put those, mount those in. We got this kit that we're going to put on, and it's got washer and a D-ring, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. I bet you guys know why this is coming. And you're just supposed to snug these up hand tight, because if you try to wrench down on it, you will break it. This is just plastic, this red part, and you don't want to break the plastic. So you don't really need to torque them down. Just get them down hand tight and just maybe like a little quarter turn snug. Swap these things out, because over here you have this thing, and that's going to be close to interfering with that when you keep we get the chain and stuff latched over here. So we're going to swap it so this one is sticking out over here and the other way around, just for clearance purposes. That'll do.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to save you a lot of trouble. We got an Allen wrench, which I will leave down in the description area below, a link to Amazon, but you need a long one like this that will fit up inside these holes right here, there's 4 of them. So these are basically 4 set screws that'll tighten up against this base plate here, and every single one of them is 40 foot-pounds of torque. And snug them down first by hand in an X pattern, and then you come back, which we've already done, and then you come back and we'll hit it with the torque wrench at 40 foot-pounds. It's got to be getting close. There we go. There we go. Then over to this back corner, another 40 foot-pounds. And one more. There we go. And basically you just pull this handle out and twist it, and it unlocks it, put it back in, and it locks it in. So basically you want to make sure you route this somewhere that you don't have any tight bends in it, and it's up out of the way and not going to make any contact with anything when it's swinging in the bed of the truck. There you go.
Right there.
Yep. And we're going to it comes with self-tapping screws, but we're going to pre-drill this.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You can hold it or whatever you need to do. I can't see.
Okay.
You only got to go like 1/4 inch deep. And you want to work it back and forth. There you go. And you'll notice you work that screw back and forth because you just don't want to wrench down on it and just snap that screw. We're gonna throw some zip ties. That'll stop it from flopping around. Put 2 just in case. I don't know, I may come back later and put something to hold it right there, but we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, now for the question of the day. Chain or not to chain? That is the question. And I've seen a lot of controversy online about these Andersen hitches, whether they're a true 5th wheel connection or a true 5th wheel hitch. And 5th wheel hitches don't require chains, goosenecks do. So I reached out to Andersen myself, and this is the email that I replied. I'll put it right up here. It says, this is kind of a gray area. We tested as a 5th wheel hitch and are approved as a 5th wheel hitch. According to DOT regulations, because it is a 5th wheel hitch, we does not need safety chains. Bad grammar. Oh, okay, anyway. However, we do utilize a gooseneck ball to secure the 5th wheel hitch to the place, creating a solid base with no moving points. On conventional gooseneck trailer, chains are required due to the latching mechanism on the gooseneck trailer. The Andersen Ultimate Connection does not utilize latch, nor does it pivot at the point of the ball. Our conventional setup is much like OEM puck systems that is utilized to accept a 5th wheel hitch solid in the newer trucks today. Unfortunately, it is up to the DOT office to interpret regulations and laws. We have only heard of one case out of the 3,500 units that we have on the road today where a DOT officer insisted on having the customers add safety chains to his setup. And they gave me the part number, which, you know, we got. And if it's up to the DOT and it's not black and white, then we're going to put the chains on. And you want the hooks attaching to the truck, not to here. So you put the chains on this side, and then you attach these to the truck. You got it? Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we did kind of rig this up so that we could actually still use this kind of a little bit. I put some cardboard in there so it doesn't mess this up, but we just snugged it down. So hopefully it'll help a little bit till we get something that'll fit in this ball and snug that up. But now we have to talk about the important part. Why did I get rid of my other one, and why did I go with this one? All right, guys, if you remember from Wayback Machine, whoever's been following along from the beginning, we got a Blue Ox BXR 2100, and we installed it to tote our 5th wheel around. How's it been? Actually, it's been fantastic. Like, that thing, it slides straight from the top. It doesn't slide in, so you don't have to, no tug test. You don't have to jerk on it to make sure that it's locked into place. You slide it in, you put the latch on, and it's good to go. And when you're driving that thing with the Blue Ox, it is like you're driving one complete unit. There's no chucking. It is just like you're driving around in a Class A. It's not like you're towing, your 2 separate vehicles and moving along. It is just one unit, and there's like zero chucking, and you feel solid. And that's one of the reasons why I really like that, and we went with that. But this is what happened. when we bought the new truck, if you guys been following along, we got the new F350. I took that one, the blue wax out, and it had a little bit of rust and some paint flaking off of it. And I set it aside, and then we got the new truck, and I was going to go put that back into the new truck. And what I did was, it had some dirt on it and it was a little filthy, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to hose it off and let it dry, and I'm going to sand down some of the rust parts, just repaint it a little bit real quick before I put it back in the truck. I started hosing it off, and all the paint started flaking off, and I noticed and found out there was like huge swaths of rust all over the thing. And I just was spraying it with this weak water pressure that we have here, and it's not like a pressure washer or anything, it's just a regular garden hose, and the paint was just flying off of that thing. And we probably lost at least 50 to 60% of the paint on it just by hosing it. And there was a lot of rust, and I was thinking to myself, man, this should not be, I should not have to deal with this. You know, I was thinking about just sanding it all down, recoating it or repainting it and everything. And I'm like, well, if it starts to flake off again, I don't want to get all that rust inside my bed, because I had a mat in there before and there's rust all over the mat. I'm like, we don't want to have to deal with it. That's why we went with the aluminum. And here's the thing is, I don't think I can blame 100% on Blue Wax. I kind of can, because it shouldn't have failed either way. But, you know, we do go fishing a lot. I put saltwater rods in the back of the truck all the time, and we do go to hang out at the beach in the summertime. Some of the sand from, you know, our chairs and stuff gets into the back there, but they should have a better coating on there. I was tempted to go get it powder coated, but I'm like, I shouldn't have to deal with this. So we're just going to start fresh with the new hitch. And this thing is supposed to be pretty sturdy. It's, like I said, it's rated for 4,000 pounds more than the Gen 2. I just want to share with you guys, you know, what our experiences was and why we got rid of it. It's not because it didn't function well. It's just because we had a paint failure and I didn't want to have to deal with it. So if you're new and you want to see how this works out, especially with this rubber pin box, I think that's going to be a great combination. So make sure you subscribe, notification bell, all that fancy mess, and we'll see you guys next week.